Laura Fielding. I am teaching here at Southlands today. I'm going to be teaching long stretch as part of my video for to become a master trainer. I have two of my favorite friends and clients here. This is Jennifer. She's a teacher here at Club Pilates. And then we've got Tracy, who's in our teacher training program. They're both going to help me out today, and we'll be doing the long stretch. So apologize if my back goes to you, but for lack of a better setup here, this is what I've got to work with. So we're talking about long stretch. We're going to start with a red and a blue spring. And then I'm going to have you guys just face your foot bar for a moment. I'm going to talk about the foot positioning. So in a classical setting, the headrest would be up and you'd have your feet on the headrest. More contemporary style of teaching this exercise would be to have your feet on the shoulder block. So I'm going to let you guys pick. Maybe one can do one and one can do the other just for the sake of the video. So let's say, Tracy, you go to shoulder blocks. Yeah. And Jen, you can go to the headrest. So what we can do, if for some reason your hands, like if you're teaching a class and people are sweaty, hands are kind of sticky, you can always use these little sticky pads. I left a set for each of you on your chair. You could always put these over the foot bar for your hands, or you could even put them on the shoulder blocks or headrest. If your feet are a little sweaty, you could even have the set in either place. So if you need them, they're there. If you don't need them, you don't have to use them. And then when you guys are ready, we're going to place our hands on the shoulder blocks, on the foot bar, about shoulder distance apart, and then pick your foot position, and you're going to come on up. So Tracy's going to have her feet on the shoulder blocks, and Jennifer's going to have hers on the headrest. And then from here, I hope you guys don't get too tired. If you need to put your knees down, you can. We're just going to talk about body positioning here. So we're going to start from nose to toes. The crown of the head is going to be reaching across the room. So just be mindful when you're teaching this that your clients aren't dropping their chin down toward the floor or taking their gaze down toward the ground. So you want to definitely want to cue that. You want to push the foot bar away. Think about lifting up away from the carriage so that your body is nice and engaged. You want to have a nice strong connection in your upper back. So shoulder blades are gliding down your back. You're pushing that foot bar away, trying not to have the shoulder blades winging. So this looks really nice here. Tracy, you're winging a little bit. You feel that? So I'm going to put my hand on your upper back. You're going to push that foot bar away to try and flatten it out here. So yeah, there you go. Much better. Okay. And then from here, belly button pulls in toward the spine. Imagine a set of hands around your waistline. You can even tactile cue that when you're teaching this. You put your hands on the client's waist just to have them pull those obliques in. Strong inner thigh connection. So you're pulling those inner thighs toward each other. We've got a red and a blue spring on. That's where we would start. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you would drop down to one red. So from here, take an inhale, push that carriage back, just pivoting around that shoulder joint, and then exhale, pull yourself back in. And we'll do that a few more times. Exhaling and inhaling. Great job. Good. So you just want to make sure your clients are not like death gripping around the foot. You guys can come down for a minute while I talk. So when you're teaching this in class, things to look for. When you see that lower back kind of concave, you want to kind of tactile cue, put your hands like on their obliques, have them pull in and up. If you've got someone, actually Jennifer, I'm going to have you come back up. Jennifer has a little bit of a concave lower back, so she's going to come back up into that position. So for her, see how she's kind of arched here? We're going to have her just slight posterior tuck. So bring that pubic bone forward. There you go. See how that's nice and flat now? And then you can push back out. Does that change things? Yes. Good. Good, good, good. Good. And then come back down for a moment. So any questions so far? Like if you were teaching this, anything that you think might come up that you'd want to address?
You feel your abs more when you adjust your back.
Yeah, so always pulling in and out from the abs. So sometimes with clients, and especially if they're newer to this exercise, they might, they'll get tired and that lower back will start to slump. So that would be a good tactile cue where you go up to them and kind of have them just tuck that pelvis just a little bit. You don't want a big tuck, and then pull those abs in, and that's going to help get them into their abdominals.
I like the idea.
The ball is a great idea. So let's use the ball. You're going to take that ball, put it in between your knees while you're kneeling on that reformer, and then give your inner thighs a squeeze. Good. So for you, you're going to want to separate your feet just a little bit. Yep. Exactly. You could go to the shoulder blocks, or you can just keep them on the footrest. But you just want to make sure that they're in line. Yep. Okay. Good. And then you're going to squeeze that ball like crazy. That helps engage the inner thighs, and then come on back up. So you want to have everything engaged here. So some people think it's a shoulder exercise. Some people think it's just abs. But it's really a full body exercise. So you want to have everything long and strong before you start to push in and out. And then how would we make this a little bit easier so you have someone that's on the weaker side?
Come down to the floor.
You can come down to the floor. You could also, so for Tracy, you can go back pretty far. So if you had a client that was struggling with this, come on back in for a moment. You can just push back a few inches. So maybe you hurt about there. Yep, and then back in. So they'll start to move, and then as they get stronger, they can make that movement a little bit bigger. So let's take the ball out for a moment. I'm going to show you guys how to make this a little bit harder. So say you're teaching like a 2.5 class, you want someone that's wants a little bit more work. You're going to come back up, We're gonna do it on one leg. So let's have you both on the shoulder blocks for this one. Good, you're gonna push that carriage out. Come up into that leg, good. And then you're gonna lift your right leg up, point the toes, send it out behind you. And then push in and out from here. Good, push out, good. And then come on back in, put that foot down, transition to the other one. Good, and then do that same thing there. So that makes it a little bit more difficult, but you wanna make sure that the client is not shifting into that supporting leg, that their hips are square, and that they're not compensating in any way. So if you start to see that lower back sway a little bit, you'll wanna have them back on both feet. Okay, make sense? And then if you had someone that's just not ready to get up on the reformer yet, and you want them to, like, teach them the mechanics of this exercise, they can do it on the floor. So Tracy, I'll have you come down to the floor. Let me get out of the way so we can get you a video. So you put the balls of your feet on your glider, hands at your side. You could do a little roll down so it looks pretty getting there. So no hitching the chest, abs pull in, roll down, walk your feet out. And then you're gonna have those weights there. So you place your hands on the weights, that would be like your foot bar. And then you can push your body out and pull yourself back in just a little bit. So not moving very far. Those knees. And then you can have them take a quick child's pose or something down there on the floor. And then have you come back up. Great, so as to questions about that?
I don't think so. How would you or what would be the modification, or not modification, the next?
Oh, so yeah, that's a great idea. This is so places to go from here. So if you're in that long stretch, you can have your client come down on that long stretch, take a quick child's pose if they need a little stretch. If not, you go right into down stretch. So those feet would be right up against the shoulder blocks. You would be on your knees, and then you'd bring those hips forward, and you're all set up for that next exercise.
Okay.
Yep. You don't have to do it here, but that that is an option if you guys wanted to do that. Yep. Where else?
I like the child's pose.
Yeah. Where else can we go from here? Can you pike? Yeah, absolutely. Or you could even go up into like a up stretch or elephant or something like that. Yep. Yep. Yeah, there's lots of places you can go from there so that you can keep the class flowing.
Okay.
And then as far as injuries, you don't want to, you don't want to put a client up here if they've got any kind of shoulder injury, wrists. Yeah, some people have weak wrists or carpal tunnel, anything like that. That's just too much pressure on the wrist. So you could bring them down onto the mat. And the exercise that you did down here with the weights, you could regress it even further. Instead of using the weights as your foot bar, you could even have them come down on their forearms and just kind of shift forward and back.
Could you use the box for that too?
You could use the box for that, yeah. You can have feet on the gliders. There's lots of things. So use your props. The props are a great way to make things either harder or easier, or just help you engage in a muscle. Like just when we gave you guys the ball, you felt your inner thighs kind of kick in, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to kick in those. You're thinking about all the muscles working together, and then some people kind of forget about those inner thighs. They're so concentrated on their abs and their shoulders that they forget about what the legs are doing. So you always want to, nice strong seat, inner thighs pulling toward each other, belly button pulling toward the spine. You want those heels. Let's get back up there. One more time, keep feet on the foot bar. Not the foot bar, shoulder blocks. If your feet are on the shoulder blocks, you've got a nice connection to push into. So if you've got someone struggling with their feet on the headrest up in that up position, push your heels back. Think about long, strong legs, nice long plank, and then pushing those heels into that foot bar to push back. Does that help?
Yeah.
That's really great, but for a class, that's way too far back.
Yeah.
Most of our clients probably want to make sure that they're not pushing back too far where they lose that spinal engagement. Yeah. Good, and you guys are done. You can kind of come down onto your knees. I don't know if I mentioned, so I'm just going to mention again. We had you on a red and a blue. So what you could do if you wanted to make this, so when you were red and blue, it's a little more control. You want to make it a little more difficult, you'll drop that blue spring, and so, it'll push back a lot easier, so take a little bit more out of control. So if you want to take that blue spring off, let's give it a good try.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, you feel the difference?
Oh, yeah.
The more you gotta use, you really gotta tap into those
abs.
abs, yep.
Yeah.
Good, so that's an option to make things a little more difficult, and then if you need that more control, you'd have that blue spring.
Yep, there's the abs right there.
Good. So when you guys are ready, you can come down. Any questions? You think you guys would be able to teach that?
Yes.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll do it in my class tomorrow morning.
Oh, good. I'm gonna use your props. I mean, the props are a great way to make things, easier, harder. You've even got the pads, sweaty hands. So keep all those things in mind when you're teaching this, and have everything around and available to use. Okay, excellent. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for helping, and thank you for watching.